During the review, it became clear to us, Your Excellency, that the challenges facing the services were not just laws, policies, institutions, and processes, but also leadership gaps in the services. It also became clear that the reform recommendations stand little chance of being implemented if the leadership issues are not addressed. Initially, and because of the urgency of the issues, you had asked us this team to complete the exercise within 3 months. However, because of the depth and the complexity of the issues that emerged from the 3 services and the other requirements, such as public participation, consultations, there was a bit of delay, and we want to thank Your Excellency for extending the term to complete this. Your Excellency, to enable it to deliver on its mandate, the team carried out one of the most extensive consultations with the public participation in the 47 counties and held sessions with the leadership of the 3 services and the members, the junior members of the 3 services. On the 21st of December 2022, Your Excellency bestowed upon us the responsibility to look into the terms of service of the National Police Service, the Kenya Prison Service, and subsequently, the mandate of the task force was extended to cover the National Youth Service. 11 months later, I can report, Your Excellency, that the team that you tasked with this noble responsibility has delivered. On behalf of this team, I want to thank Your Excellency for the honor and the privilege that you gave us to take up this task. Personally, Your Excellency, I thank you for the singular honor that you gave me to lead this task force. One of the remarkable recommendations that came from both the field and the members of 3 services is that this time round, the recommendations of the task force would be implemented. There have been similar issues have come up in the previous task forces, and they have not been recommended, but they trust that this time round, Your Excellency, with the commitment that you have given yourself, don't have any doubt whatsoever that the recommendations will be implemented.
Your Excellency, today is a great day, and it's a big win for our officers in uniform. If Kenyans recall, on the campaign trail, Your Excellency, you did promise that if Kenyans gave you the money to lead this country, you would, on assuming office, initiate reforms to improve the terms and conditions of service for our officers in the National Police Service, the Kenya Prison Service, and the National Youth Service. The presentation of the report to you and the recommendations there too marks the beginning of the journey for police reforms and taking into consideration the improvement of welfare to create a better service for the people of Kenya. I would like to urge our officers across the country, when these recommendations are implemented and your terms of service and condition are improved, you must also give back to society by giving commensurate service. We want to see improvement in terms of the way you serve the people of Kenya. We want police officers to do away with corruption as a way of also appreciating the reforms that have been initiated by the President. Your Excellency, you have led by example in allowing the National Police Service to operate freely and independently. On assuming office, you did give the Inspector General of Police the functions of the accounting officer so that the police force, the police service remains independent. Your Excellency, it is on record that yourselves and the rest of us who serve under you have no control over the operations of the National Police Service. Even the Cabinet Secretary for Interior oversees the police service on policy matters, but they retain their operational independence. On that note, Your Excellency, it is also important that we commend the CS Interior and his PS and the National Police Service for the improved security situation in the country. For the last 1 year, Your Excellency, serious incidents of crime have not been reported, and crime has been controlled to what you call acceptable levels. The guns are silent in North Rift, in Northern Kenya, and other than petty crime, there is general improvement of the security situation in the country, and this, Your Excellency, has contributed to the upsurge of tourism in this country. As we speak, all hotels along the coast in Masai Mara and other tourist destinations are full as a result of improved security situation in the country. Again, the improved security situation in the country is responsible for the trooping of investors in this country, because investors will only come to a country that is secure and where they are guaranteed of their security and their investments. I therefore want to encourage Professor Kindiki and his team, as we approach the Christmas session, to be more vigilant and to make sure that the people of Kenya have an opportunity to enjoy their holidays with their families, and an atmosphere of investment continues to prevail so that we can attract foreign investors and other people from the world who want to come to this great country.
Going by my initial perusal of the report, and in accordance with the task force periodic updates, I am satisfied that the report I have received this afternoon has done justice to the assignment that I gave to the task force. The task force has diagnosed 4 primary problems in our services that have hampered effective and efficient service delivery, rendered them resistant to growth and transformation, and collapsed their stature in the eyes of many Kenyans. The problems are broadly underfunding, deficient leadership, structural and organizational weaknesses, and most critically of all, corruption. These perennial problems have impaired the terms and conditions of service, welfare, as well as motivation of officers who serve, and severely undermined service delivery to the detriment of the safety and security of the people of Kenya, their belongings, and their investments, and their interests. None of the services covered in the report receive adequate funding or even anywhere near it. The inappropriate processes and structures involved in recruiting, supporting, deploying, and promoting officers render the entire sector vulnerable to inefficiency, low professional standards, operational ineptitude, ethical lapses and malpractices, and general institutional decay. Coupled with this, outdated and inappropriate legal frameworks and organizational structures have created loopholes for malpractice, confusion, overlaps, outright conflict, and sometimes general inefficiency. In the report, corruption has been cited quite frequently and described as systemic, endemic, entrenched, deeply embedded, and rampant. Clearly, we have a serious problem in there, in that we have never developed in these services the capacity to serve the nation to any satisfactory standard, and as a result, the services have become increasingly suboptimal and problematic at worst. Our aim is not only to restore integrity, efficiency, and accountability by waging an anti-corruption campaign throughout government, and in this case, within the services. Our primary objective is to secure the transformation of this nation by instituting a professional, efficient, effective security sector which is defined by integrity, service, and accountability. We are therefore going to pay attention, and great attention at that, to the numerous well-considered recommendations made by the task force. Necessary changes to important instruments and measures, including policy, strategic, legislative, and operational frameworks shall be implemented by the government in line with the recommendations made by the task force. Consequently, some will await action by Parliament to amend relevant legislation and the conclusion of the necessary work by committees, similar bodies as recommended in this report, including the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. Those that are administrative will be implemented immediately. I am directing the relevant organs of government to commence implementation of the various recommendations of the task force, beginning with the following. Number one, alignment of the terms and conditions of service of the National Police Service, Kenya Prison Service, and the National Youth Service with other security agencies. We now confirm that these three services are now moved to the security sector. Review the pay, living conditions, medical cover, housing, and other aspects of welfare for members of the services, and simply to do the right thing for these officers. I have seen the recommendation that has been made by the task force to enhance the salaries of our policemen, our National Youth Service, and our prison service by 40% over the next 3 years. I think it is a well-considered recommendation. We will now await the workings of the Salaries and Remuneration Commission to make the necessary adjustments so that we can implement this recommendation. We've also seen the recommendation of the career progression of our officers, so that there will be 2 categories of admission, one for constables and another for the cadet in all the 3 services. Again, this will give us the opportunity to grow appropriate leadership in all the 3 services. Number 4, review legislative and policy framework governing operations within the National Police Service, the Kenya Prison Service, the National Youth Service, to ensure better service to Kenyans, greater accountability, transparency, respect for the rule of law and integrity, and the subordination of these critical security services to civilian oversight and authority in line with our deepening democratic credentials. Institutionalize a long-term equipment modernization for all the 3 services. I am very clear in my mind. We are already undertaking the modernization of the police service equipment requirements. Then it will be followed by the Kenya Prison Service and the National Youth Service. We have already made provisions in the supplementary to enable the National Youth Service begin the journey to be the arm of government that will help us mobilize young people from the grassroots and to use their energy, talent, knowledge, and expertise to drive National Youth Service. Automate human resource and finance management procedures in the 3 services, including processes for recruitment, transfer, promotion, and payment of salaries and allowances. The recruitment and promotion of members of the police service will be made transparent, competitive, and merit-based. The entry qualifications for all services will be raised to align with the expected competencies of officers, but without losing sight of the imperative to implement affirmative action.